Okay, good morning, everyone. We will call this the February 3rd Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Will you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next up on our agenda is the Board of Commissioners minutes from January 21st.
Mr. President, I move for approval.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Accounts payable.
Mr. President, I would move for approval of the accounts payable dated January 24th to February 3rd.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the accounts payable. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Payroll.
Mr. President, I move for approval of payroll dated 1/31/25.
And I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve the payroll. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. All right, we have an ordinance.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion we approve ordinance 2025-03-CM.
Second.
Okay.
All right.
Brian?
Good morning. We've got sort of a small little infill rezone area here being proposed with this petition. It's over on the west side of the community, right immediately adjacent to the West Lafayette city limits. The proposal is to go from R1 to GB. They are being clear on what they want to build. They want to do a Circle K gas station convenience store. The existing GB area to the immediate east has been on that for some time. Our denial recommendation is kind of rooted in two things. One, the new township's plan does not recommend further expansion of commercial zoning in this particular location. So there's that. Second, access is a bit of a problem here since the driveway permit would be granted on the county road from City West Lafayette, given the placement of the city limits in the right-of-way. And then, of course, the US 52, that's going to be NDOT. So, and there is I believe there's some limited access right-of-way to contend with there, plus just the overall intersection layout. So, if there's questions about our opinion on the transportation issue, I did bring Doug Pode with me, who's analyzed this. So, if you have any questions of him, feel free to ask. But, so we are recommending denial of this. Be happy to answer any questions.
Just a second. Doug, I guess, Kevin, if you want to go ahead and go first. Go ahead. Doug, I do have questions about the roads, is what I'm...
Sure. Please to answer them.
That is one really tight corner already.
That is correct, especially with the cemetery on the northeast corner of the intersection.
Well, I just know it gets backed up in the mornings and afternoons of parents picking up kids, dropping kids off, things like that. I'm just trying to figure out safely to potentially get in and out of this property is what I'm trying to look at.
With this property, we've also had similar properties like this. If you remember, may or may not remember, the proposed Arby's on County Road 600 North and State Road 43. They were wanting to build a new restaurant at that location. And of course, the challenge with that is the access on 600 North, which is similar to this. At that time, had discussions not only with us, with NDOT, with the county, and with the town of Battle Ground. And at that time, the only way to functionally continue a driveway, the operation in terms of traffic, was a right-in, right-out. And with that, a median barrier was to be constructed by Arby's, and then there was additional Requirements basically moving the road a pinch to the north so it remained width-wise the full 12 feet. I suspect with this, when it's being reviewed, it's similar. It's within the operation of the intersection, especially if you look at the site plan, you will see the trucks turning within the taper for the left turn lane. So my guess is that when the permits are issued or being reviewed, that we probably will have a joint meeting between NDOT, the county, West Lafayette, and us to discuss this. In looking at it and past examples like the Arby's, I suspect that in order to maintain access, first of all, the driveway will be asked to be moved as north as possible to get outside of the operations of the intersection. And if not, then a physical barrier will be needed to be constructed to make the driveway right in, right out only. And then, of course, with that, you have to maintain the additional width of the road, so it'll need to be widened on the west side, and then of course you'll need to have tapers in terms of cars moving in and cars moving out. So initially, when I let the permits manager and NDOT know about this, they had serious concerns. And likewise, not only with that one, but also on 52, they would not permit vehicles turning out, making a left turn out, and vehicles making a left turn in, so that more or less will probably be a right in, right out only. And they were also concerned with that driveway being in the operational area of the intersection. Does that answer your questions?
Thank you, Doug. Yes.
And Doug, is there currently a median in the 52, or would that have to be installed?
When I looked at the aerial, I did not see one. I don't usually drive that way, but I would suspect that if there is not a physical median there, that NDOT would require a median.
And there is a driveway there currently, but it was to serve the residential
Correct,
unit that used to
yes,
be there.
because it only serves the resident if it does come in for a expansion in terms of the gas station operation. It'll have to be redesigned completely and meet the NDOT qualifications for that, and that is a concern with how close it is to the operation, to the intersection. And if you like, I could give you a lot more different examples of this occurring elsewhere in the community.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Doug.
Sure.
Petitioner?
Here's a proposed site plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Kevin Riley with RTS Law representing the petitioner. Just to go over a little bit additional background information and then address the concern about traffic. This is a project site is located across the street west of Menards. The project will cover approximately three lots, approximately 1.9 acres total in size. But because of the existing general business and the existing floodplain, this rezone only involves about a little over a half of an acre of ground. The existing GB is 1 acre in size approximately. I would note that we have also filed an application to rezone the GB site to GB with commitments, as we discussed at the area plan meeting, and the purpose of that was to add the commitments to the existing GB that are the same as those that we filed with this ordinance, or with this request, so that those commitments cover this entire project site. I note that the petitioner chose this site based on existing traffic flow, not on predicted traffic flow. Based on their information, Approximately 59% of their business is derived from pass-by traffic, so this is not a ultimate destination. This is a stop of convenience. I would note that this GB zoning fits with that area. There's significant GB to the east, GB to the south. You've got the Menards, Meijer, there's another gas station, Freddy's, and a bank to the east, and a lawn care business to the south. With respect to traffic, we note that we're willing to work with NDOT and the city. I mean, we have to comply with what they tell us we have to do to get access. So those kind of issues will be addressed, but that, in our view, doesn't impact whether GB is appropriate at this site. We already have, as I've mentioned, an acre's worth of GB zone ground at this site. All we are looking to do is rezone an additional half an acre so that the gas station that's going to be constructed at this site has got more room to operate, so it's not as condensed. I handed you an image of a proposed site plan that shows the lighting as it would exist at night, just so you can see that the light doesn't go outside of the property boundaries to the extent that there's any concern of neighbors with regard to lighting. I'd note that Brendan O'Hara, who's with Circle K, is here. I don't know, did you have anything in particular that you wanted to add?
No, I would just say I want maybe to add to Kevin's comment about traffic. We're prepared to work through, we develop stores all over, and we're prepared to work with NDOT and the County Highway Department and the City of West Lafayette to meet the protocols and the needs that they have. The site has, and I also wanted to clear up, I think the site now has a full driveway cut on County Road 300. And then there's Harvey Lane. We're not proposing to use Harvey Lane in any way. So I just probably wanted to clear that up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We did receive a favorable vote at area plan last month, and we are requesting your approval, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
I do have one, and more so for those in attendance today, but if you would share what your plans are for drainage.
For drainage, you'll see on the site plan, we've got a retention pond in I guess it's the northwest corner. So that would be
And that'll still come before us as the drainage board to.
Correct.
To give
Yeah.
approval to that.
That is
if
the
it's
plan. So
approved
whatever the county requires, we'll have to do with respect to drainage, similar to access.
Are you looking at going to the north of the main building, putting a barrier up somehow, like a noise barrier for the citizens that may still live there, trees, something like that? I'm just curious.
I'm actually, I'm supposed to, and I don't know if Joan, if you know this, but I'm supposed to meet with Joan's son today to kind of talk about landscaping and lighting and what we can do to help them with their concerns about traffic and noise and stuff. So yeah, we're definitely planning on trying to address that as well with Diane to the west, putting up some kind of fencing or landscaping. So yeah, it's definitely top of mind.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience like to speak for or against this rezone?
Hi, Brian McCarty, and I'm Joan's son, and I just see we already know how much of a traffic issue it is there already, and I'm not sure how you're going to get a tanker in there. So without some major reconstruction of the area, be the one thing that I would add.
Okay.
Do I need to sign this, Dave?
Yeah, if you would, please. Okay, anyone else who'd like to speak for or against this potential rezone? Okay, I guess I will come out and say, I don't know how you're going to get stuff in and out. Even when I'm pulling a cattle trailer, I can't turn on the Taft Road and try to get through there, and I'm just seeing, I mean, I really don't see it. And I know we can't get towards the cemetery. We have an American Revolution soldier that's buried there in that cemetery, and those ballasts at the corner of that road get hit as soon as they straighten them. I'm just trying to figure out how. So, but that's your guys' headache, it sounds like, maybe. So, all right, any other questions or statements? All right, Jennifer?
Murtaugh,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Byers.
No.
Ordinance 2025-3 CM passes 2-1.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have Highway. Stu?
Morning. First item we have is construction contract for the reconstruction of Tippecanoe County Road 500 East from US 52 up to 350 South. Bids were received in your January 21st meeting. We received 4 bids. They've all been checked for accuracy. There's no apparent errors, unbalancing, or anomalies. The low bid, which we're recommending acceptance, was from Milestone Contractors LP. Their total bid, including alternate 1, was $3,775,140. They were also low on the base bid amongst the various bidders, so we recommend acceptance of and execution of their contract.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We approve the low bid with Milestone Contractors for the 500 East project in the amount of $3,775,140 with the alternate.
Second.
Motion is second to accept this bid. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
The other item that was originally on the agenda for today was acceptance of bids on the North 9th Street Burnitz Road pavement improvement project. Due to a late addendum to that project, we felt that it was best to delay the bid to give the contractors more time to work on that bid. We do need to maintain the award date because of community crossings grant requirements. So we're recommending that the opening and bid, the acceptance and opening be moved to Wednesday, February 12th. Bids would still be accepted prior to, with a deadline of 9:30 at the auditor's office, opened at 10 o'clock in the Grand Prairie Room. Then they would be reviewed, brought in for award at the next meeting, all bids open or read aloud again, and moved. Did I miss anything, Doug?
No, the commissioners, there's a part of the statute is you finding that it's in the best interest of the county to postpone the bid openings, and in this case, it sounds like it gives the bidders more of an opportunity to put their best foot forward. So I would recommend that you approve the postponement of the bid opening until February 12th, 2025 at 10 a.m. in the Grand Prairie Room as being in the best interest of the county.
So moved?
Second.
That was much more cleaner.
I don't do good lawyer talk.
We have a motion and
No.
a second to approve opening these bids coming up on our February 12th meeting with the approval on our February 21st meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I design a bridge, they won't like that either.
All right, Sadie, we have 4 different policies.
Good morning. The first policy I'm requesting approval on is Policy 620, Family and Medical Leave Act. This is pretty standard verbiage based on the federal policy. The difference is that we removed paid parental leave out of this policy to make it a standalone. And there's added verbiage that employees must notify Human Resources in writing with a request to file FMLA.
You want to do these one at a time, or just take them all?
You should probably do them one at a time.
Okay.
Mr. President, I would move that we approve FMLA policy 620 as outlined.
Second.
Motion is second to approve policy 620 as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Thank you. Next policy is our sick leave policy. This is defined a lot more clear than our previous policy. This outlines violations of sick leave policy, such as supervisor has the right to deny sick time on a timesheet, for example, make an employee use comp time, vacation time, or floating holidays in lieu of sick time, define supervisory responsibilities in terms of excessive use of sick leave. Also added verbiage to include in-laws count as necessary uses of sick time. Mother-in-law, father-in-law, parents and children were listed before, in-laws were not listed, cleared that up. And it defines that full-time employees earn 1 day of sick leave per month, and regular part-time employees accrue 0.8 days per month.
Okay, any questions? Entertain that motion.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion we approve policy 621 on sick leave as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. 622.
622 is our paid parental leave policy. We implemented this 1/1/24. We've seen quite a bit of benefit to this, but we broke it out of FMLA. In part, this was due to a certain class of individuals who filing FMLA caused detriment to the department, if you will, in turning in equipment, canines, vehicles, not being able to attend once a year annual trainings. This also allows employees to take paid parental leave without filing FMLA should they so choose. It still is 15 days. An employee must be full-time for at least 1 year before requesting paid parental leave.
Mr. President, I move that we approve policy 622, paid parental leave.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Now, 630, work week.
630 is a new to us, if you will, policy. This takes over our previous flex time policy. What this essentially does is it allows elected officials and department heads to have the opportunity to establish flexible beginning and ending time for their department's workday, so long as it's within the hours of the office set by the commissioners, such as 8 to 4:30. So they can allow coming in different hours, staying later different hours, different lunch hours, etc.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion we approve policy 630, work week and work hours.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Thank you.
And thank you, Sadie, and the committee who's been working on these policies ongoing.
Yes.
Is this the second group we've approved, second group of policies?
Yeah, this is only the second group, but yes, thank you to the committee as we've worked week over week to.
We have a lot of vibrant conversation in those
Yes.
meetings. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, Rebecca, 4 different contracts.
Good morning. These are contracts for our performance-based grant through the Department of Corrections for Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiatives. So the first one, they're all training, so they're required trainings that we have to have for staff in order to offer groups and programming for moderate and high-risk kids to maintain them in the community as much as we can. And if they fail that programming, then they end up in more restrictive environments. So this is for our cognitive behavioral training. This is for our cognitive behavioral interventions is the second one. The third one is for regulation training with the schools. And then Ruth is reaching hard to engage students with the schools as well. So front tour for our direct care workers that we have and probation officers, and then the second tour, the school work that we do.
Always ask before I make the goulash. We can do these together? Okay. Mr. President, I move that we approve the Train for Change for Cognitive Behavior training in the amount of $8,500. Also, the contract with the University of Cincinnati Research Institute for training at $12,250. The contract with Megan Baldwin for training at $6,000, and the contract with Ruth Ayers for $7,000.
Second.
Motion and second to approve these 4 contracts as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stacy, Health Department.
Morning. This is a contract between us and VaxCare. Contract is loosely because they're just controlling our vaccines. It takes place, right now we're only able to administer vaccines for 7 private insurances. That's very limited and makes us turn people away. VaxCare has over, I would say 2 or 3 dozen was in there. Doug looked at it. So it will open the doors for us to be able to administer and work with all kinds of private insurances now. So, any specific questions?
So they're not handling the service of administering the vaccines. They're just helping on the back end for
Yeah,
billing.
they are helping us with getting the proper vaccines and keeping basically a supply and demand. We've seen this work in a few other counties. We actually used to have this program, but I think it had some hiccups, so now we're getting it back. Right now, we were having to pay $20,000 to credential just those 7. We don't pay VaxCare anything. So, yeah.
So more out of curiosity than anything else, when they talk about $20 per device,
So that's basically a user fee. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doug. But we just are getting 2 devices that the nurses can use, and it's going to coincide with what's going to happen with us getting an EHR as well. Right now, we do a lot on paper, so we're moving to 2025 and doing more electronic. So,
Do you remember, sounds like, I didn't remember that charge specifically, but the way it's set up, do you know, do they credit that against, I mean, they're supposed to remit money that they collect based on your services, and then there's, there's some kind of an accounting, and I don't know if that user fee would be deducted then from what they would otherwise send us. Do you happen to know?
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you, this is Taylor's pride and joy,
Yeah.
and she's out today. So I let her, we will get an administration fee. All of those were detailed with how much we charge for vaccines and so forth. Yeah, so.
But, yeah, and I guess just how it's structured, the health department code has the health department entering into contracts subject to the approval of the Board of Commissioners. So you'll notice there's no signature on here for you, so you're just approving the form of the agreement, basically.
Mr. President, I would move that we approve the agreement as outlined by Stacy with VaxCare.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this agreement. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes. Thank you. Next up, there are 2 agreements with Financial Solutions Group, Inc. The first one is continuing disclosure filings. This is what we as a county have to do anytime we have a bond. It basically makes sure we're dotting our i's, crossing our t's, and we're not losing compliance. This contract says it will range, full services range for anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 per year. And we've done this for several times, is what we have. The second contract with Financial Service Group is also a matter of really taking a strong look at our financials. If we are looking at continuing with the juvenile detention facility, A, can we afford to run it or even pay for it? With the potential change that might be coming down from the state on property tax collections, this is a good chance to take a different set of eyes, to take a strong look at our books and make sure we're doing everything correctly. And so that one is not to exceed is $30,000. So those are the 2 contracts.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we approve both contracts with FSG Corp.
Second.
Okay, motion is second to approve both of these contracts with FSG. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Thank you. Next is a agreement with Arcor. Tony?
Morning. Yes, we have an agreement with Arcor Architect and Engineer to come up with a design to restructure the plumbing fixtures and so forth for the first floor men's and women's bathroom at the courthouse to make it more ADA compliant, which it is not currently by any means.
And it had a fixed sum of $6,000, if I believe right.
What was that?
$6,000.
Yes.
Mr. President, I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve our contract with Arcor for restroom remodeling in the courthouse. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. I guess the additional terms and conditions should have gone with that one, or is that okay?
There are two copies, yeah.
One of them.
Okay. All right, Sharon, grants.
Good morning. This morning, I'd like to ask permission for Solid Waste Management District to receive funding from Indiana Department of Environmental Management in the amount of $10,000 for waste tire management recycling. The funds that we have can be combined with the funds we received last year to provide 2 different events for tire recycling in the county.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second. I will add that the tire event is coming up this spring, the first ever, so excited to have that.
That'll be in May, and that'll be at the amphitheater. And the one in the fall will be at the fairgrounds.
Do you have a date for the May one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
somewhere.
hang on.
Not in my notes.
Let me pull that up real quick.
Oh, okay. I want to say May 3rd, but that doesn't, it's a Saturday. See, Kern was supposed to be here, but he was going to give you all that information.
It's Saturday, May 17th.
May 17th.
Yeah, from 8 till 2 o'clock at the amphitheater.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to grant permission to accept this grant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Now we have 2 MOU contracts.
Yes, the first one I'd like to bring before you is the TROSC, which is Tippecanoe County Regional Opioid Settlement Community Committee, that the RFA2 would like to award to Outreach Advocacy Center, a new nonprofit agency. This was awarded back on October 1st, and it has been under deliberation, and so we would like to bring it to you to approve that so that we could sign that and get the budget rolling and their assistance to our citizens on the move.
And I would suggest, because as Sharon mentioned, this is a new not-for-profit, I had spoken with the board president on this it's been probably at least 4 weeks ago, and asked for their overall budget, their balance sheet, their insurance as required per the grant agreement, and we have not received that yet, so I don't think it's responsible for us to approve this until we have those things. So I would suggest we table this until those documents are collected, since this is a reimbursement grant.
That was a motion. Do we have a second? That fails for lack of a second. Do we have a motion to approve the contract?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve this MOU contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
It passes. Next up, your other MOU.
Thank you. And the next one is an MOU between the Sheriff's Department and Paul's Plan. Again, it's a TROSCC. This is for the second RFA that we had come out, and they have an MOU so that the funding can basically go straight to Paul's Plan instead of going through the Sheriff's Office and then to Paul's Plan. So it's basically an MOU for auditing purposes so that that the auditor knows where the funds are going and what reason they're going for.
Mr. President, I move for approval.
Second, but why don't you say a few words about your program?
Yes, so, do you want to start?
Nope, go right ahead. Oh, you-
So this is for the IRACS program, which stands for the Integrated Reentry and Correctional Support Program. And so we're going to be providing non-clinical peer support services, focusing on reentry and recovery planning for people while they're incarcerated. So pre-release, ideally, the peers will have access to folks before they're released from the jail, and they'll help with that transition back into the community. This particular grant, though, is specifically for the community peers, so they're going to be based in the community providing reentry support
Okay.
in partnership with the jail.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this MOU contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Thank you. Okay, any other unfinished or new business needs to be brought before the board? Reports on file, we have from Central Mail, accounts payable duplications, Coroner's Office, Valley Oaks Health Community Mental Health Center. Those reports will be in the Commissioner's office for public viewing. Any public comment? Seeing none?
Move to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.
Hey, Rebecca.